She could be awesome or she could totally suck. You choose. Hey guys, what's up? It's Katie and I'm back with another Marvel Contest of Champions video, and today I'm going to be talking about Sorcerer Supreme and giving my thoughts and opinions on her. So let's get into it, shall we? So thanks to the content creator program and Kabam, I was able to have early access to a rank 3 Sig 200 Sorcerer Supreme. So the first thing that I'm going to say about her is that I actually hated her when I first got her. I was really excited to play around with her, but after about an hour, I was about ready to give her less than a 1-star rating and just be done. Because as most of you know, I really enjoy running suicides. But after I took off suicides and played around with her some more, I found her to be a lot of fun. So if you're a fan of running suicides, then she is not the champ for you. She is the most suicide unfriendly champ in the game, in my opinion. And when I get into her abilities and gameplay, you will see why. So I'm going to be giving you guys my honest opinion of her, where I think she shines, and where I think she fails. Now, I'm also going to be talking about which matchups and modes I think she'll be good for, and also one huge opportunity that I think Kabam missed with her. So let's go ahead and take a look at her in the game here and see what she's got going on, right? To start out with, she's got pretty low damage output, and she definitely needs to be ramped up, but she does have a lot of sustainability. She excels at long fights, especially against champs that get a lot of buffs. So a lot of your cosmics, which of course makes sense since she is a mystic. Now, I do feel that to run her smoothly, you need some level of mystic dispersion though. I have her at MD4, and I think that's honestly a good balance. Now, I have recorded a fight with her against the 6.2.6 champion boss. Actually, it should be uploaded about the same time as this video. It was one of the first fights I did with her after removing suicides and adding mystic dispersion, and it really didn't take me long to become, you know, super happy with her and pretty effective with her. She is simple to use out of the box and doesn't require a high level of skill to play, which you might be surprised at because of all of these runes that she has going on. So to start off with, she does energy damage, which is always good, right? You can get around pesky things, you know, when with champions that only deal energy damage, and she has a high energy resistance. Her physical resistance, it's, well, in the negative, but there are ways to mitigate that damage, which is always a good thing. So I mentioned earlier about these 3 runes that she has, right? So she's got Cyttorak, Ragador, and icons, I don't know. One is for attack, one is for defense, and one is for power control. Now, they rotate out every 8 seconds. Now, at first, I thought I was going to absolutely hate this. I was having flashbacks to Silver Surfer, but in all actuality, it's easier to choose what rune you want with her, and you can switch them out easy on the fly with just a heavy attack. Now, Silver Surfers rotate out every 2 seconds, and that's just way too fast for my taste. With her 8 seconds, I feel like it is the exact right amount of time. It's not too short and it's not too long. Personally, the Silver Surfer buff rotation is a fail in my book, but here with Sorcerer Supreme, this is a win in buff rotation. So basically, if we look at her special attacks here, her runic spells, this is where you're going to want to store your runes and use your runes. So when you use a special with a certain rune up, it will store and use runes. The attack rune of Cyttorak gives a +2 attack and will armor break the opponent. This is the rune that does damage. The Ragador rune, excuse me, will give her armor, a weak regen buff, and also will give her the ability to regen 75% off blocked hits, which is important, okay? This one is great for sustainability in the game. The regen will not counter recoil damage, but it will keep you in the fight. Now, the last rune is the rune of icon, however you want to say it. Now, this one, with this rune up, you will power steal opponent and place a slow that stops, evade, and unstoppable. Now, the power control with this rune, it's, you know, it's okay, but it really doesn't counter champs like Hyperion or Vision Arc as well. The slow debuff is what makes this one pop. Slow debuffs on champs are always a-okay in my book. Now, let's take a look at the special one. So if we go to the special one here, the special one will store a rune and use one. The special two will store two and use one of whatever rune you have up. So any special will actually activate at least one ability for each rune. As you use specials and store runes, you do more damage, which you'll actually see later in a video. And then that allows you to gain more utility. Now, the special one will also nullify a buff and place a nullification aura that will nullifies a buff every 0.75 seconds for 10 seconds. So essentially, you can nullify, I think it's 13 buffs off of this special one, which is amazing. All right, so I really like this mechanic. It's cool, it's unique, and I am all for it. Now, the special two will actually store two runes and use one. So using this special to start storing runes fast is what you want to deal with after you use your first special three. And we'll talk about that right now. So the special three stores a rune that you have up permanently. So whatever ability you know you want to keep up during the fight, you want to make sure that is your first special three so that you can have that rune up when you launch it, and then you will keep it. Okay, so there is kind of somewhat of a timing aspect with her, right? You know, you're gonna want to kind of pay a little bit of attention to it. By default, she starts with the Sidorak, the attack rune up, unless you choose another from her pre-fight ability. So yes, she does have pre-fight abilities, which is always nice. I love champs that have these new mechanics in there because it allows you to basically customize a champ for a specific fight. Now, personally, with my playstyle, I find with whatever rune I start out with is the one that she has up when she gets her first special three. But of course, that will be different based on, you know, the person playing and your playstyle, whether you're more aggressive or you're more passive. So let's go ahead and take a look at a video here real quick. Now, this is in one of the variants, I think. I can't remember which variant this is in, but this is going against Venom. And so unless you have this is in, excuse me, variant 3. So unless you have a tech champion, you suffer a 50% weakness debuff on you. Now, this is important here, right? Because in order to do more damage, you're going to want to have more runes stored. So with her, what I'm trying to do is get the block one up, right? I want the Ragador one up because I want the armor and I want that little bit of regen that comes with it. And you're gonna see why, because let's face it, I'm not always the greatest at dodging Venom's special 2, and sometimes I get a little bit aggressive and push him to it. So you're gonna see how beneficial this rune is to have when you're starting off in one of these fights. So I'm blocking the brunt of that special 2, and I just regen all of that back essentially. So that is what makes this so nice, right? Is that even if I'm blocking an attack with the rune of Ragador up, even though I'm blocking and losing health, it's still regenning up pretty quick, and I'm basically regenning all of my health back, which is awesome. Now, if I launch my special 2 with that regen up, it'll pause, and I'll still keep regenning though, but it'll pause the timer on that regen. So the name of the game here is just to launch your specials. So I'm trying to get as many runes stored as I can. So I don't know if you saw how kind of not a whole lot of damage I did that first special 3. Now watch how much more damage is going to be done with this special 3 since I have some runes stored. So that's a substantial amount more than what I had done previously due to the number of runes that I have stored. So the more runes you have, the more damage that you're gonna do. So, and remember too, keep in mind here, I'm suffering a 50% weakness. So I'm suffering a 50% drop in attack. So imagine what that would have been had I not had that placed on me. But you can see, even though we're taking block damage, we're regenning it back up. And Venom's got a slow on him. He's got the armor break. We're nullifying all the buffs that that come up. So she's pretty nice. You can spam specials super quick, which is going to lead me into the next video here. I want to show you how fast that you can actually spam specials. So let's go ahead and take a look at this video so you can see how quick you can spam your specials. So this is against the 6.2.6 champion boss, who, by the way, she is an excellent counter for at least for the first 90% of this fight. But you can essentially get up to your specials without ever having to touch him. So you can just constantly rapid fire those specials off, which makes it really easier. If you launch your special one, you'll put that slow mechanic on him, you'll nullify, you'll have the Nullification Aura, which is that little purple thing that has the X on it right there. All right, so let's take a look at her special one and how it can sometimes miss. So if you're not close and you launch your special one and you miss, it's okay. So here we go to launch it and we actually end up missing, but even though we missed, we still have the Nullification Aura and we still place the slow debuff on him. So you'll still get the Nullification Aura and the slow debuff even if you miss with the special one, but you won't actually get that first initial nullify. All right, so next thing I want to talk about is a node that she is great for, and that is no retreat. And this is because she can spam specials. So we just saw how quick she could get up to, get those specials and just rapid fire them. So this makes her great for no retreat, and it also makes her great for can't touch this. No, not MC Hammer. Because you don't have to worry about doing 5-hit combos and you don't have to worry about dashing back. You can just chain throw those specials. Now, you can build up to your special 3 here so you can store the rune, or you can just choose to spam those specials. It's really dependent upon what you want to do. But this makes her great for no retreat nodes. All right, so now I want to talk about something that I mentioned earlier, which was a missed opportunity by Kabam, and that is for the destructive feedback node. So I really thought this was a missed opportunity for her because, she can regen off of her block, and that is a mechanic that I feel like should counter destructive feedback. But as you will see here, it does not. Just a refresher in case you didn't know what destructive feedback is. This node reflects all damage back that you deal to the opponent while the shield is up if they make contact with you, even through a block. So I was hoping that with her, after seeing that, she regens 75% off block, that she would be the perfect counter for this node. And unfortunately, she was not, because this node gives people a lot of problems, right? If you're not great at intercepting and you block, it can do a lot of damage to you, which we just saw for poor little Sorcerer Supreme. So I feel like her regen on block should be the perfect counter for destructive feedback, but alas, it is not, and I feel like this is a missed opportunity for Kabam. Okay, so let's just go ahead and go over some basic stuff with her. Now, her awakened ability, it seems okay, but kind of not necessary. It gives a boost to the rune effects and increases ability accuracy. Now, she doesn't need the awakening. Some mystics really do, like, Morningstar, magic. I know people say, even I've been guilty of saying magic really doesn't need it, but it really helps her out. But lately, Kabam has been dropping some mystics that don't actually really need the awakening. You've got Sim Supreme, you've got Doom. So it seems like she's starting to fall in this category of a mystic who's not necessarily needing the awakening, unlike Mojo. Okay, now her synergies. Her synergies are okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at her synergies, why don't we? So the first one is she's got one with the new Storm. So she rapidly gains a bar of power at the start of the fight, which that's always a good synergy, right? And then she's got this one here, with Doctor Strange, and this one might be one of the best ones. So she gains a passive prowess, whenever a blessing activates, increasing special attack damage by 15%. These last until the end of the Synergy member's next special and are capped at 3. So this, I think, is by far the best of her synergies. Now, it works with both Doctor Strange and Sim Supreme. So if you run Sim Supreme, this is going to help him out immensely as well. All right, and then next she's got one with, Dr. Voodoo, Dormammu, and Mordo. So the Nullification Aura is paused during any special attack, so this is always good, right? That way you can actually nullify more buffs. And then she's got one with the beautiful people, with Archangel, Nebula, and the Champion, which they gain plus 400 block penetration. So I think this is another good synergy that she has as well. And then she's got one with so the next two are Gamma Horde and House of Iron, which are nice MROC tie-ins, in case you guys were wondering about the name. So this is, of course, with all the Hulks. And the stun debuffs inflicted on the opponent last 25% longer. And then with the House of Iron, with all the Iron Men, the armor break debuffs inflicted on the opponent have 30% increased potency. So where do I think that she shines the most? Well, really, it's champion and node dependent. She is probably the best champ to take the champion down to 10%. And I think that, she is great for specific fights, but I don't really feel like she's a lane clearer unless that lane is full of champs that get buffs. So if you've got like a full cosmic lane, boom, you're good to go. I like her on stun immune and no retreat nodes because of her ability to intercept, and then her specials, her ability to chain throw specials, it just makes her so good on stun immune and no retreat nodes. Now, her damage output is okay at best, but she is a ramp up champ, and once you get her ramped up and runes stored, she's good to go. So now that we know about her, let's go over some pros and some cons. Now, pros, she has slow, which I am a huge fan of the slow debuff, and I like that Kabam is giving it to more and more classes, which means you're being able to counter evade and unstoppable basically of any class, regardless now in the game. Before we just had She-Hulk and Spider-Gwen with it, so you couldn't counter the skill class, and now we've got pretty much everyone covered. The Nullification Aura. This is a unique ability. It's a unique mechanic. I love it. There are so many benefits to this. You just have to stand there next to them and buffs are nullified. Her regen on block is a nice feature. I do like that. Now, she's easy to use and easy to learn. Despite having to go through all of those runes, it really doesn't take much time. I feel like she's got a lot of versatility. There are a lot of different ways that you can use her based on those runes. Now, it doesn't seem like she needs the awakened ability, which is always nice in my playbook. Her animation is smooth. We all know I love smooth game style champs. She has nice power gain, and which allows you to spam specials. Now let's talk about the cons. For me, being suicide unfriendly is a big con. Her special one can be dodgy and it can sometimes miss because of its short range. She's got some not great synergies. She's got one really good one, really. So she's very squishy. Now, she can make up for that a little bit with that regen, but for the most part, she's squishy. And she is a ramp up champ with very low damage at first. So going over everything we know with Sorcerer Supreme, where would I rank her? Well, she's going to have 2 rankings. Without suicides, I give her 7.5 candies out of 10. With suicides, ooh, she gets a half a candy, and that's being generous. But anyways, guys, that's all that I got. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this first initial look at Sorcerer Supreme? Do you think she looks complicated to use? Do you like her rune storing mechanic? Do you like the ability to spam specials? Let me know in the comments below, and let's discuss. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw and you want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and hit me up in the Discord chat. Thanks, guys. Bye.